right, Connor, so you've been playing the Street Fighter 6 beta over the weekend. It's now closed, sadly. It closed on Sunday. But in the beta, you got to run around the battle hub, create a character, and get into fights with randoms on the internet. How was that for you?
It was brilliant. It was really, really, really excellent. Obviously, I had a chance to play the online mode at like EGX earlier this month, but this was the first time we really got to mess around in this massive like social hub, battle hub. Where, like you said, you can create a character, customize it, mess around with other players, socialize a bit, and then go to these arcade cabinets to play games of Street Fighter 6 online. It was brilliant. Before this video, I sat around trying to think of many negatives from the beta, and it's hard to think of any, frankly.
Well, that's a good sign.
It met any expectations I had for it going in. It was brilliant.
So I guess the only outstanding thing that nobody's really had a good hands-on go at is the World Tour mode, right?
Yeah, so the World Tour mode, which is a big single-player experience, hasn't really been messed around with or released yet. We've seen it in trailers, obviously, and we've seen sort of what sort of things we're going to be able to do, meeting these characters, learning moves, being up strangers and breaking boxes and stuff, but we've not actually got to play it. This is kind of an extension of what people have been able to play at shows, this beta. Which is just this like social hub. But it does give us an idea of what actually walking around in the world will feel like. I imagine the avatar you create in this battle hub is going to be very similar to the one you'll be able to make in the single player, and you get to experience what it's like just running around and throwing out.
I would imagine it's just a unified sort of, this is your avatar for the Street Fighter 6 world, right? Wherever you happen to be in it.
Yeah, I mean, we see this sort of like cinematic where Luke's like, oh, welcome to my gym, and then you gotta like dress up some sort of character that you're gonna take on the world with. I imagine it is going to be very much the same, yeah.
So in terms of the actual fight in itself, the nitty gritty of getting into combat, how did that feel? Obviously, there's always like complaints about netcode with every fighting game. And did you find it a smooth experience? Because I mean, looking at the footage, it looks great. It looks really snappy, but obviously you can't tell without getting your hands on it.
So I tried it out both with like my LAN cable plugged into the Ethernet and with Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi is obviously a bit more spotty than a wide connection, as it always is with most people, I imagine.
And this is on PS5, just to clarify.
It's on, this is on my PS5. And it was great on both. The online felt really smooth. There were a few matches where, especially when I wasn't using cable, where it was a little bit spotty here and there, but it wasn't nearly as bad as we've seen in other fighting games in the past. It felt really smooth. It was really fun to play, and that's really important, especially, you know, if you're trying to make Street Fighter this big online social space and make it a really big hit among people. The online needs to be smooth, and thankfully it was. And it really made it nice and easy to like jump around with these characters, mess around, learn up a few combos, press some buttons and have a blast, to be honest. It was great.
You tried out a bunch of different characters.
Yeah, there were I think 6 in the beta, I believe.
Okay.
No, 8. There were 8. There were 8
in the beta. Did you get a go on all of them?
Yeah, I had a quick go of all of them. Yeah, they were pretty great. A lot of the classics felt very familiar. Ryu and Chun-Li and Guile felt quite similar, although they do have a few extra like new fancy moves back as well, to mix things up and make them more exciting than they were in like previous games. The new cast, like Jamie, brilliant, really, really, really great. And then you had some sort of like non-classic but still returning characters come back with a lot of cool extra stuff as well. Luke was brilliant, really felt like a bit of a turn your brain off character to me personally, but I'm sure there's some depth in there. Jury's back and awesome. Ken's back as well, and he's got like a whole new look and some really cool additions to his kit. It was just brilliant. It was just really good. All the characters felt kind of true to what they're trying to do, to their style, and they felt really punchy. And add to that like the drive gauge and stuff, the new mechanic kind of added to the core fighting of Street Fighter 6, and it felt really fresh. It didn't feel like it was just another Street Fighter 5 sort of thing. it felt like a whole new game, and it was really exciting to jump into that.
Well, that's really good for it to feel fresh, but also, familiar enough that it's a Street Fighter game, and these are the characters that we love. This is the game that we love, but it's in a new guise. I was speaking to, we did a video, me and Donaldson, about this a few weeks back when he got his hands on the Tokyo Game Show build.
Yeah.
And one thing he was saying was that it's like they've taken the best of Street Fighter V and mixed it with sort of Street Fighter 4 and made this whole new thing. Would you sort of agree with that assessment?
So it definitely feels like an evolution on Street Fighter V. It feels like kind of what that game should have been, both in the actual fighting and away from it. It really feels like they've taken the learnings from the last game and really actually worked on them and added some real love and care when needed to spaces that were maybe a bit lacking in the previous installment. Yeah, it just feels really, really lush. And there are all these sort of like hidden bits of hidden passion worked in there that you either discover yourself in the game or on Twitter. People were digging around and finding all sorts of stuff.
So a labor of love, you would say, yeah?
I would say, yeah, it's a real labor of love. They've done a really, really good job with this.
We've got loads of footage of you just sort of dealing out batterings and getting a lot of batterings as well.
Yeah, I got in some of those clips. I got absolutely murdered. Yeah, for sure.
You got battered by someone calling themselves Immaculate Bussy, which I mean, what a username! How confident. I mean, it must have been distracting.
Yeah, that's why I lost. That's why, because I was distracted the entire time. It wasn't because I was pissed or anything.
Did you develop like a favorite, or I don't know how these things work? Do people sort of like decide, no, this is my character, this is how, what is it you do as a player?
Well, I usually, when a new game comes out, play the entire cast, and some characters you pick them up and they just feel fun straight away. Usually I play grapplers, which are these big, sort of usually quite burly characters that have these massive, really damaging grab attacks. And there were none of those in the beta. However, I really did like Jamie. He's a new addition to the cast. He is sort of this sort of like drunken boxer sort of archetype. And he's brilliant. Yeah. He's lots of fun. He's all about sort of getting drinks in the spaces when you're kind of safe from being hit, and getting more moves and getting like enhanced attacks and stuff as you do more drinking in the middle of fights. And that was really fun. It's a cool dynamic that none of the other characters had, and I think it really set them apart. But yeah, usually I just play around, but Jamie was a real highlight. Ken feels really fun. Just a really, really aggressive twist on the classic character. And Chun-Li as well was quite cool, though I was really, really bad at Chun-Li this player. I can't do charge characters. So Guile and Chun-Li for me were really rough, but still cool, like to mess around with them, see what they've got.
How was Jury for you?
Jury, she's a real fan favorite, and I did play her a bit years ago, Street Fighter 4 when she was first released. I'm not a huge fan of that sort of like play style personally. But she was cool. Like, that's the thing. Even characters I didn't like at all. Like I had no fun at all playing Guile, and I was really bad at playing Guile. But just like seeing.
I mean, it's looking at his haircut as well. It takes a lot of joy out of the experience.
And his beard. He's got like a full-on beard now. He looks great. But like, yeah, even characters I didn't really get along with were just seeing them in this new engine, seeing them with like all the new tricks they can do, were really, really brilliant. And it kind of made me sad when the beta ended, because it's a sort of game where you can jump in the training mode and just mess around for hours on it.
So as we say, World Tour mode, and I keep bringing World Tour mode up because that's what I'm most excited about as a complete casual, bad at everything, especially playing against other real people.
Sure.
So, but obviously, having grown up in the 90s, have a real affection for Street Fighter. Just getting to run around in Street Fighter's world in a sort of Yakuza-y sort of way is really appealing. So I wonder if that alone, if it's got a lot of meat on it, is going to be something that brings a lot of kind of casual players into the fold. I mean, it gets a big casual audience anyway, Street Fighter, because it's such a big name. But like, I wonder if that's going to be like a real direct appeal, and it's going to mean that people don't sort of buy it because they loved Street Fighter 2 when they were a child playing against their little brother who was crap.
Right.
And then play it for 10 minutes online and realize that they're terrible at it because they're 40 and everyone else isn't.
I mean, if they treat it at the same level of sort of like love as they did with the Battle Hub, I'm pretty confident it will be pretty great. Like, and while we don't obviously have any hands-on with that quite yet, just a taste of like the character creation, and you know, you can go and buy clothes and stuff in the Battle Hub, like on one of the shops around the side with currency you earn from fighting, which I imagine you'll be able to do in a single player as well. Like, surely, like dress up your character. You can really make some really fun, interesting avatars in this game, and I can't wait.
It's really like it's really extensive. It's like it's more tweakable than like the Skyrim character creator. Oddly, it's really
we're reaching sort of like Black Desert Online levels of like Korean MMO level of like customization on this one, where you can really go wild with it. It's really exciting, and I'm hard pressed to think of anything that kind of rubbed me the wrong way of the character creator.
I've been Jim Trinker for VG247, and you should definitely like and subscribe, because if you don't, you smell. Check out the website, check out the podcast, check it all out. Check it out like it's Supermarket Sweet, man. I'll speak to you later.